Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our final WeQ in the series. Tonight we are going to be focusing on consulting, and I'm kind of making the assumption that the people who are here this evening are interested in pursuing a career in the consulting industry. And so it's really fantastic that this evening we've got some of our beloved alumni to kind of share their own personal journeys and give kind of their own advice and tips and tricks on what they've found, what they've discovered in this whole area of becoming a consultant, and kind of they've walked the shoes that you may follow in. So hopefully that you'll be able to glean some valuable information this evening and ask your pertinent questions. For those of you that I've not met before, my name's Lisa Leveling and I'm part of the KLU Careers team. Alongside Anna Raymond and Sabina, you hopefully will have come across one of us in the last couple of years. And we have some speakers with us who are based in different consultancies, and I'm going to share my screen with you just now because I'd like to for you to see the names of our speakers, and perhaps this is worth then making note of who they are. I hope you can all see that. So tonight we have Enrico, and he's here from Implement Consulting Group. And we also have Jakob, who's here from Miba Consulting Group. And Jasmin is joining us. She was here last year at last year's WeQ and is here again this evening from Bearing Point. And we have Katja here from Logsta's Management Consulting Group. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to pass on my apologies from Jonas.
And then paying for the handling fee as well. So that's exactly where
I'm going to mute everyone. Unfortunately, Jonas has had to call in sick this evening and wasn't able to join us. So apologies from him. But what he's done is he's offered, if there are people here who would like some more information on kind of his journey on to how he ended up with Roland Berger Consulting, then he would be willing to set up a separate Zoom call at some point to talk to those who are interested. So if that's something that appeals to you, then do reach out to me, send me an email in the next few days and we can see if we can set that up. Alternatively, feel free to reach out to him on LinkedIn. I spoke to him today and he was saying that he's had many questions already via LinkedIn, so that is not a new concept for him, and he welcomes the questions. So that's from Jonas. And Hannah, who was also one of our speakers from IBM, won't be here like in the flesh, but we have a little treat from her, which we will be watching later. So it's lovely to see you all. And yeah, at the beginning, I would want to just encourage you to switch on your videos. It's really helpful for us to see each other's faces, especially with this being a networking event. So if you can keep your cameras on, that would be fantastic. And really just a reminder that this session will be recorded and you'll be able to find that recording on the KLU Compass page in the next few days. So we've got, if you've been to any of our other WeQ sessions, you'll kind of know how this plays out. Our alumni speakers will be kind of sharing their experiences in the next few minutes. And then we're going to see how time goes. And if time allows, we'll maybe have a short panel discussion whereby you can direct your questions to all four of our speakers tonight. Can I ask, if you already know which questions you may want to ask, perhaps you could send them to me in the chat, and then I can moderate that on your behalf. And then after that, we'll break you into 4 groups with each speaker, so you get a few minutes with each speaker to ask those questions. And helpful hint is that those breakout rooms are not recorded, so perhaps if you have more personal questions, those might be good opportunities to ask those to our speakers this evening. Just to get an idea really of who's here this evening, can I ask, if you're a current student, can you give me a little wave? Fantastic. And if you're alumni, can you give me a little wave? Our speakers, wonderful. Is there anybody else who doesn't fall into one of those two categories? Okay. Well, it's really lovely to see you all, and I'm hoping that you'll get a lot out of this evening, and that you'll learn more about what it is to follow a career in consulting. But I'm going to just hand over now to Enrico. Enrico, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Lisa, and also to KLU for this opportunity. I was actually counting years when I made the presentation and realized that it's been actually a while since I was a student and then began this path in consulting. So let me try to give you a glance into, what has happened since I was in KLU. It's been, as I said, a couple of years. Can you see my screen, guys?
Yes.
Hope you do. Great. Cool. Okay, good. So to begin with, I was, well, first of all, my name is obviously Enrico Garbarino. I was a KLU actually exchange alumni. I was not a part of the full master program, but I was an exchange student coming from the Danish Technical University in the year of 2015, 2016. And I did a number of courses as part of the basically the second year of the Global Master in Logistics and Supply Chain Management. I am Italian d'origine, Italian national. I've been studying in Italy, my bachelor in engineering. Then I moved to Denmark, did my master in the logistics and transportation in the Technical University. And as part of it, I then did an exchange in KLU, more focus on supply chain management. After that, I came back to Denmark, I graduated, and I basically began my career in consulting, been there for about 8 years or so, and until recent times, in particular last summer, where I just relocated to Switzerland, to Zurich, where I'm located at the moment. I spent pretty much all my time in a company called Implement Consulting Group, which I will tell you about in a moment. And my focus has been and still is basically supply chain management, integrated business planning, S&OP, inventory optimization, forecasting, all the, let's say, supply chain planning typical topics. At the moment, I'm also driving the, of course, business development in the DACH area and in Denmark as well, where our company is headquartered. And I'm also in charge of recruitment activities, especially in Germany and in Switzerland. So if you have any question about recruitment and things like that afterwards, I'm hoping to be able to answer those. Maybe I'm good at that. Good, but we're actually not a micro company, but we're not a big one either. So I'd like to give you a glance into who we are and what we do. So we're called Implement Consulting Group. We are a Danish founded company we are about 25 years old. We were founded back in 1996 in Copenhagen, Denmark. First expanded dramatically in the Nordics, and recently, I would say in the last 7 years, we started our small conquering of the central part of Europe. First, in January, we opened an office in Munich in 2016, then in Zurich about 3 years ago, and only very recently in Hamburg, actually just last autumn. So maybe that could be really relevant for some of you guys. What do we actually do? We are a consulting business, but we have let's say a little bit of a different approach to certain things. I'd like to normally talk about consulting as a two-folded game. On one side, you have to, solve the problem, right? And to do so, you need very strong analytical understanding, break down issue, have a lot of problem solving, so-called, let's say, skills. But on the other hand, you can solve a lot of problems, but if you don't make it happen, if you don't have the right understanding of change and how you actually make an impact, in a tangible manner, then you can solve a lot of problems, but nothing really happens. And in case of our customers, they want to see good strategy, good solution to complex problem, but also they want to see change happening. I think this is actually one of the edge of our business. We have strong, let's say, analytical understanding. We have strong analytical profiles, but we have an incredible, let's say, focus on the change management aspect, and how we can actually make, what we preach taking place in our customers. We can come back to that in a moment. Another principle that we really work with is what we call merely collaborative consulting. And that is simply that when we develop something for our clients, we do not only, just, do a classical as-is analysis, okay, what's going on here, and make it sort of like a baseline, then do a lot of analysis, a lot of work, come up with a brilliant solution, and then say, hey, here you go, and now go and do it, right? No, we actually really try to involve our customers as much as possible from day one, to make sure that, first of all, they get the ownership of the solution that we co-create together with them. But at the same time, when it comes to the end of the project, to the end of the initiative, where we have to do handover of the solution, we don't need to spend months in teaching the customer or explaining them what the heck we work on for the last few months. But if we have an actual team, if we actually collaborate with our customers, they already own the solution and they can drive it forward once we're not there anymore. We do that obviously in a number of domains, or I call them expertise areas. I'm personally working with operation, so with supply chain management in this case. We do a lot of things, classic consulting offerings, strategy, digitalization, leadership, change, growth, and of course, operation. If we deep dive a little bit more into the different offerings when it comes to operation, as I said, we work a lot in supply chain management, which is actually my case. So everything concerning, planning and execution of production, movement of goods, transportation, distribution, from, let's say, strategic analysis of the manufacturing distribution footprint to perhaps more operational topic like transportation management, things like that. We work a lot also with the digitalization and the IT aspect of supply chain management. So we actually combine IT knowledge to our, let's say, profound business process understanding. So we can actually design a business process to improve the assets, but at the same time, we can also bring, together the system that can actually support the new process that we have designed. So when it comes to the really nitty-gritty stuff, in my case, as I said, I work a lot with supply chain planning. In this domain, we have a lot of several topics, and we actually have a number of, we are more than 400 people working with supply chain and implement, and about 100 of them working especially with the supply chain planning aspect. And in this, let's say, area, we have really, really extensive experience with many, many big customers and very strong references. Just to give you a glance of some of our customers, I mean, we focus mainly on 6 verticals or 6 industries. Industrial manufacturing, very much. Then we are extremely strong in the life science and pharma. Process chemicals, consumer goods, of course, including food and beverage, the energy industry, and the automotive as well. This is just a couple of examples of the customer we work with, pretty much in the Nordics, Germany, Central Europe, US, and what more. Great. I'd like to spend the last minute giving you, if I'm on time, Lisa, giving you just my 50 cents on consulting, and at the same time, I'm telling you that we are experiencing a dramatic growth, basically in all our markets where we're present. So we're pretty much looking for several consultants at the moment, both graduates and also a little bit more experience. So from my perspective, there are a number of questions that needs to be, let's say, posed to understand if you are the right for this kind of job or this kind of career path. And the first is definitely, are you passionate about supply chain and logistics? As I said, we do offer all kind of offerings, but I'd like to pitch the one about supply chain operation, which is my field here. Then do you want to work in several industries and solve their biggest challenges, work really across different industries, going from a watch manufacturer to a dairy company to electronics, completely different challenges, but sometimes also similar solution to these challenges. Then do you want to see how theoretical concepts that you study at university can actually be put into practice to make a real impact at our clients? Consulting is a good place for that. And then you're not afraid of challenges and of a fast-paced environment, but at the same time very rewarding intellectually. Then I would say consulting is also another good place to go to. And last but not least, that was also my case when I finished my study. I really liked the field of supply chain operation, but I couldn't really see myself, rather in a manufacturing company, in the automotive industry, in a pharmaceutical company, or in a, fashion company, whatever. So I think if you're not really sure about what industry to go to, but you really have passion for a certain field, and I see somebody is even nodding, that's nice. That's consulting, that's the way, guys. So with that said, I hope I've been on time, and looking forward to the discussion later on and to see the presentation from our fellows as well. Thank you very much.
That's perfect. Thanks so much, Enrico. If you want to stop sharing, that would be brilliant. Okay. What I'd like to do is I'd like to share a video with you that's been sent from another member of our alumni, and that's Hannah Michel, and she works at IBM, which, as you know, is a technology company, but ended up in their consulting sector. And she shared some of her thoughts in terms of what she thinks of this kind of role. And although she's not with us here this evening, I'm hoping that what she shares is helpful for you. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy talking to you today, although I'm not really talking to you because I am, during the time that you guys are having your consulting series from WeQ, I am on holidays, so I can only record beforehand and send you this little video to make sure that you actually receive the information that I want to provide you with. Who am I? My name is Hannah. I did my master's in global logistics and supply chain management about 2 years ago, and since then I have been working for IBM. But IBMers are not only tech people. There's creators, researchers, communicators, builders, professionals that reinvent daily life. And I'm also not a tech person. So don't already run away if you hear IBM now because you can't code because you're not a developer. No worries, you don't have to be one. Because what I understood today, you want to learn more about consulting itself. That's a service line that I'm working for. And we have two main groups, which is business transformation services and hybrid cloud services. I'm part of business transformation services, more specifically finance and supply chain services. But then there's also the real sectors, not the functions, which where I am in government. So I'm working for public institutions. Question: why did I join IBM? Because public institution consulting for a tech company is not exactly what you would guess as the classical way when leaving KLU. That's true. And that's why I want to tell you not so much why did I join IBM, but why did I stay with IBM, and why should you consider joining it? Because why did I join IBM is pretty straightforward answer, a lot of coincidence. I think searching for jobs, I looked through many profiles, and IBM was not a company that I was specifically looking for. And today I regret that. So one thing, why should you join with them? Why did I stay with IBM, and why should you join IBM? One of the reasons is diversity. Our company, like all other companies, will tell you it's a diverse workplace. You've heard this in pretty much every company presentation, I guess. But speaking from own personal experience, we live it. I'm in a tech company, so yes, it's true. I still have a lot of male colleagues, but I have never experienced any kind of discrimination. There are many, for me, most likely being discriminated for being a woman. I could tackle these challenges. We have so many women clubs. We have gender pay gap information. We have mentoring programs that help us succeed as women. We have so many places to talk, to communicate, to address our problems. And then on the other hand, we have so much options to grow our skill profile, to actually fill the gap, the skill gap that we still experience, because 10 years ago, 20 years ago, technology was not exactly something that women were starting or shown to be interested in. Like, young girls were told, hey, you could be an informatician at some point, or a computer scientist. But there we have like all these programs that help grow our skill profile. So it's less about what religion, what gender, what sexual orientation, what color, whatever you come to IBM, but how you develop as a person within the company. And that's a focus that I really appreciate, and something that I want to promote and that I want to tell you, so that you know one really important reason why you should join IBM. Okay, I'm going to skip some of these. Talking about skill profile, who can join IBM? That's a pretty straightforward answer. You most likely looking rather for consulting jobs can join. But then we also have data scientists, designers, developers, or technical specialists. So depending on the profile that you might have started your master's with, or if you're even just finishing your bachelor's, you might still want to switch profile. Consider all of these. I think the most important thing when joining IBM is not to come with a certain and very straightforward and finished, let's say, profile, but to know exactly and how you want to reach the skill profile that you want to have in the future. So going there and saying, I want to be a data scientist, and this is the plan that I have, these are the steps that I want to take, that's worth a lot more than coming there and saying, I have a great character and I'm willing to learn everything. So yeah, who is it for? People that are motivated, that have goals, and that already have an idea in mind on how to reach these goals. Okay, before going too deep into the application process, I want to tell you a little bit more about public sector consulting, because I didn't prepare a slide for that one. Many of you are probably already, just as I did years ago when I was in my final steps in my master's program, I was thinking about consulting, and what were the things that I had in mind? Maybe Big Four, but then also very big strategy consulting. Why not do McKinsey, for example? And I don't want to say that that's bad at all. I just want to say that the way that I do consulting now is the right way for me, because I have long-term projects with government institutions, which includes the military and defense sector. And for me, when I start working in the mornings, I always think that I'm not working for a product, but that I am working for the infrastructure that I have to live with. Because the government institutions that I work for and the projects that I can help make more successful are the ones that define the infrastructure that we live in. So the processes that I have to face in my day-to-day life, and it's like when I work, I know that I'm basically paying myself with my own tax money. So I want to be efficient because I'm actually kind of working for myself and my well-being and the well-being of the people that I like that surround me and for the whole country. And that's probably one of the main reasons why I really, really like public sector consulting, because it gives me the feeling that I am changing the way that I and all my close people and my whole country live and work. And that's a great motivation to start your workday with. Now, talking about the application process, I would recommend you to check, especially as you can see here, ibm.com associates. There is a great associate program and also master programs that you might be considering in case you end up not finding the exact position that you would like, or the area that you would like to work for. Don't hesitate to contact me. As I said, have a clear plan in mind, something you're willing and wanting to do. And then chances are, well, there are chances that these positions might be somewhere hidden in the firm, and maybe we can find the right position for you. The only requirement that I want to tell you about is German language. I would strongly recommend you to be proficient in German, because chances are very unlikely that you can actually work, especially in the public sector, without excellent German skills, because it's quite difficult to work for government institutions in Germany without speaking German. Yeah. If this were no recording, you would have the chance to ask me questions now. If you have very specific questions, you may also write me an email, and then I'll be happy answering all your questions. And I really hope that you have other interesting talks tonight. And yeah, the next time I'm pretty sure it's going to be a live meeting and then live talk. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now and also going to stop recording. My best wishes from Hamburg, still located in Hamburg, to all of you, and goodbye.
Okay, so I hope that was helpful for you. And Hannah has also indicated that if you want to reach out to her also by LinkedIn, that she's happy to field your questions that way as well. So if she has whet your interest in public sector consulting, then perhaps it would be worth following up with her. Jasmin, is it all right if we move to you? Okay, then Jasmin, you can.
So that was just in time that Zoom kicked me out.
Oh, okay. Jakob, if we do Jasmin first and then come back to you, is that okay?
Definitely, go ahead.
Okay.
Take your time, no worries. Okay, so please give me a sign if you can see my screen. Thanks a lot. I see people nodding. So yeah, nice to see you all. And I also saw some people are sitting in KLU. That's very special for me. As you can see here, I want to start with 5 key facts. Yeah, the first one, I am Jasmin, I'm a consultant, and I also stayed in Hamburg. I am with Bearing Point since almost 1 year now. Before that, I did my Master of Science in Management. As you can see on this picture, 1.5 years ago, there was Corona. So I'm also one of these COVID graduates, as you can see with my mask here. 1.5 years ago, we were allowed to wear some masks and not these FFP2 masks. And I'm now part of Bearing Point's utilities team. So my task now is to transform the energy industry, or to do my best to do so. My focus at my job is people and strategy. And I also want to tell you a little secret today. For my current job, so for the consulting job, my applications were rejected 3 times by the company I applied for until I started networking. So it's absolutely great that you're here today, because getting a rejection once does also not mean to always get a rejection. And yeah, also, if I'm happy to support you, so you can find my LinkedIn here and also my email address later. And yeah, I want to talk today about why I joined Bearing Point almost 1 year ago. It was a very, very appreciated application process. It was not a one-way street where I had to present myself in various tasks on different days. It was really a good idea sharing. It was nice to talk to these people. It was some talk the likable and very, very experienced people. And I also like the topics. So Bearing Point is a technology and a management consultancy. So they are very future-driven topics. It's about mobility. In my case, it's energy. It's also the public sector, where I'm also working at the moment for. It's technology and supply chain and operations. I will show you some of our topics later. And it's also a very international working environment. And because you're studying at KLU, I think that could also be a point that's very interesting for you. And I really love that. I really love going abroad, and I was looking for a company where I can also do that. And then I visited a networking event, and I really wanted these people to become my colleagues. So in the end, I decided for the people. It was all about the people. And what is also important for me was that the company is not perfect yet, but the company has very big goals. Sustainability is a focus. It's also about career development, and they want to hold learning, so also working and living in balance. And now, after almost 1 year, I can also present you the reasons why I decided to stay at Bearing Point. At the moment, I'm not only a consultant. So as I told you before, I'm part of the utilities, or you can also call it the energy team. I'm already a trainer for new hires. I'm a mentor for a new colleague who started half a year ago after I started at Bearing Point. I'm a workshop facilitator internally, but also at the client side. And I'm also part of various internal communities. To give you some example, we have the data and analytics community inside, and we also have the Women at Bearing Point network, which I really like. And I'm also supporting the recruiting process, so it's definitely not boring. And you can be yourself at Bearing Point. It's about your topics and your place to work. Right now, I'm sitting next to the Baltic Sea, so my mobile phone is thinking that I'm in Poland already. It's just be what you want to be and where you want to be. And you can also, in your development process, bring your own topics forward. One of Bearing Point's values is easy to work with. And I know that company values is something so nice. PR companies are finding out, but I think we are really easy to work with. And that's really something that my managers and also my partner are really working on. And people at Bearing Point are also my mentors and my development managers. And we have numerous benefits. So I don't know if you know Qualitrain, but that's great. I can enter almost every gym in Hamburg. That's very cool. There are a lot of things you can do. We have some additional days to have some free days, additional vacation days, and we also have the time to use them after work. I think that's quite important. So, and we also have this new campaign, and we really want to focus on that. So new consulting starts with you, and we also want to grow, and we also are looking for these new and future-driven sectors. We have the banking sector, we also have the government and public sector, the mobility and energy sector, and a lot of more. And you can start your career if you want at Bearing Point at very different levels. So I didn't do an internship at first. I was a working student in another consulting firm and also at Olympus, so more in the industry side. And now I'm in consulting, and it's totally fine to join at an earlier stage or also after your studies. So if you want to have a look, okay, what topics is Bearing Point about? What are they doing? We have 9 market segments. You can see them on the left side. You can also see at the bottom, utilities, postal, and transportation is what I'm doing. And on the top, we have the service lines where I'm focusing on people and strategy projects, but also very, very giant focus on the technology side. So I'm happy to answer all your questions, or you can also write down my email address and contact me later. Yeah, it's 1.5 years ago, same as Hannah, the same year. So I'm very, very happy to answer your question. For me, it was the same COVID situations to look for internships and a job. It was not that easy, but it's definitely possible, and you have a great start in your career after graduating from KLU.
Jasmin, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. That's great. Now I'm just having a look. Is Jakob here?
Jakob is here and ready to start.
Okay.
Is Zoom gonna keep me in? I don't know. It really didn't want to have me give the presentation. Yeah, also warm welcome from my side to everybody. I'm Jakob Stary. I graduated from KLU last year, so I'm definitely the freshest alumni here in the group. I experienced also 1 Corona year at KLU, so we share that experience. But I guess times will change also at some point again for studying there. I'm working for Miba Consulting, probably not as known as Bearing Point, just heard before. So I will give you a short introduction to the company, and then how I got there, and yeah, why I like it, and why I'm staying, to rephrase it in the words from the last 2 speakers. So Miba Consulting, our slogan is consulting meets engineering. A little bit more about that in a second. Maybe we start where I am. I am based in Munich in Germany. We do have 3 offices in Germany, 1 in Berlin, 1 in Frankfurt, from in Munich. Frankfurt is our global headquarters. The company was founded there about 50 years ago. In total, we do have about 400 colleagues in 24 offices. The biggest office is definitely the one in Frankfurt. We do have a big one in Indianapolis as well, and in Spain. Actually, in Indianapolis, I did an internship before. That's why you also see the city in my video in the background. You probably haven't recognized it, but I do have some good experience memories about that. And that is more or less also the reason why I joined the company. I decided to go to Munich because, coming from Hamburg, I did miss the mountains a little bit. And also, I really don't regret that decision, because the office here in Munich is a little bit smaller. In Frankfurt, I said our headquarters, there are over 100 people. And here in Munich, we are more like 25. And it's a really, really nice office culture. And you know everybody, and having a good time together during work, after work. Yeah, whenever. It's also quite a young team here in Munich. So I do really enjoy that. As I just moved here, you have had directly connection in the city. But coming back to the company, yeah, what is Miba Consulting actually doing? We're doing kind of a consultancy, but not as a typical strategy consultancy, and that is something which I really appreciate about the company, and what I really like during my job. So what is different is that we're not as a typical strategy consultancy. We not only giving us an analysis and then a strategy and goodbye customer, have fun with that. We do accompany our customers during a longer period of the process, depending on in the field where the project is. This could be, for example, when we do a warehouse design, starting from the scratch idea over the concept planning, where you really plan the warehouse processes, and then the tendering for the customers, and sometimes even the whole ramp up. So it could be from the scratch planning up to really the handover of the warehouse, which is a really nice flow of the project, because you really see what is happening there. Besides of that, we do have a simulation team, very cool. You need to be a little bit more into IT for that, but you don't really need to be a programmer. So often companies have an idea what they want to change, and it might be a little bit cheaper to try that on the computer before you do that in reality, and that pays quite often off. And really interesting projects with what they are doing. I'm working in the area of network studies, so supply chain planning, but I will get to that in a minute. We do also have an operation excellence team where we do some part also of IT strategy consultancy. And yeah, how I said before, ramp up management. Another important aspect is training and coaching, where also another KLU alumni is working for Miba in that area. This is often also connected to logistics, so it's training then for logistics companies such as 3PLs or other areas there. Exactly. Where do we work in? Basically everything where parts are moving, so everything around consuming and buying, selling. I personally work most of the time in the area of automotive and industry and high tech. Automotive makes sense being based in Munich, as we do have quite a couple of automotive customers around the city or further around. But basically, all areas are included, all industries. The project's kind of different a little bit towards the industries, as let's say a strategy planning for automotive takes longer than for FMCG, where parts are just moving faster and the investment is not as high. So coming back to what I'm actually doing at Miba, and how I said before, I'm involved in network studies. That means we are looking at the profile of a company, and with their data and their input and their future prospects, we're helping them to understand how their footprint, how their locations should look like in 10 or 15 years. Meaning that is an area where you don't really accompany the client during the implementation because it's quite a long time. Nevertheless, for me, it's the perfect mix out of crunching numbers and engaging with people, because I'm somebody who really likes to work analytical with numbers, with Excel. I do not know how to program, so don't be afraid. You don't need to do that. We do have a data science team, so if you're a little bit more into IT, fine to join there as well. They're also hiring. But yeah, for me, the mix is what I really like about the job. So going not only giving recommendations based on the market situation or competitors, but really together with the client, digging into the data, understanding their business, and together with the client to develop the solution. But also not only having a computer in front of your face, but having workshops together with people, real people, not only online. Even during Corona, sometimes it was really helpful to visit the customer sites. And exactly. So much about the company and my introduction. Maybe if I do have a little more time, short points how I got there, because I think that might be interesting for one or the other. I actually did this really typical route. I did an internship during my bachelor studies, so a little bit longer ago, in Indianapolis for Miba Consulting. So internships are also possible not only in Germany. And I really liked it there. And then after my master degree at the KLU, I applied there. And as I was already known, the application process went really, really fast. They really wanted to have me. And that was also just a nice appreciation, because you're not doing those 5 rounds, or I don't know. Again, yeah, they already had me in their mind, and that was really, really smooth. What I do really like about consultancy, and why I would recommend it to if you're interested in it, is that you really experience a vast variety of projects, different customers, different industries, and just your learning curve is growing so fast. And that I think is one of the biggest benefits in comparison to working in a typical company, because just your focus is changing so fast. I mean, our projects are not on a weekly basis. Nevertheless, you do get a lot of impressions. You will face challenges as you get pretty fast. You will be pretty fast on your own at some point. There's always somebody there to accompany you, but nevertheless, you will get responsibility if you want to. And that's something that I also really like, that I'm not, as I started, I was not only treated as the new guy, but definitely after 1 or 2 weeks, I was able to help my own meetings and points like that. So that's something I really like about it. Yeah, maybe to finish off, what I'm really taking out of is that we having an impact. So we do make the processes better for our customers. We improve their supply chains. That is something what I really like. And I'm happy to give you more insights about career perspectives and so on in the breakout rooms if you have questions. You can also check our website, Miba Consulting, just Google it. You will find their information about current open positions. We are strongly hiring, and yeah, everything else in the breakout rooms.
Super, thank you so much. That's brilliant. And kind of last but not least, I would really like to invite Katja to speak.
Thank you. So I'll just start. Yeah, so hi guys, nice to see you. I know some of you, since I'm actually still a PhD KLU student, but let's start at the beginning. So as you can see, I'm a master student from the charter years already from 2010 and 2012, so I probably have bring the most experience from the speakers before that. That should not matter, but maybe you have some questions in that regard. And well, let me first introduce me real quick. I did my bachelor in 2007 already, and I did my master's, as you can see, in 2012. And I'm today in the consultancy until since 2017. So I was in operational business before. I was with a lot of logistics providers, actually. I was with Logwin, you may know. I was with Transoflex. I also worked already for BLG. And I did some head management for KLU. We probably don't know, but all in Germany, but at different locations. Actually, I moved a lot. And but I have never really thought of going into the logistics or the consultancy field. But actually what I did before, also the operations, was I was working with people. I was trying to optimize processes. I was trying to gain some potentials, introduce lean management in the logistics field. And as I said, always work with people, and always, actually also for the logistics provider, always work with different fields in the logistics. And then my former bosses, actually, they founded a company, a consultancy company, in 2016, and said, well, Katja, we had so much fun together. We have so much operational experience together. Let's just do this together. So actually, we are now since 2017. And yeah, why I tell you all this, I show you maybe also the head behind logistics, or behind Logsters. So those are the founders, Carsten and Philip. I know you cannot see it.
We can't see it yet, no.
Yeah. Now you see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So those are the founders, Carsten and Philip, and this is also what I really appreciate with in our Luxus company, that those guys share, and they do this with me as well. They share operational experience together with high-level academic skills. So as you can see, they all, both of them did their PhD, and today we call us a consulting boutique. So we are a small boutique. We work online and offline, Actually, I'm located in Hamburg, Philip is located in Berlin, and Carsten is located in Munich. But so Corona didn't actually provide any news to us. And we did an online meeting even before and also with our customers, but we still, of course, travel a lot. So if you like traveling, also the consultant's business may be interesting for you. But also I am a mother today and I am married. And why I'm telling you this as well, because as I said, for us, the person behind the scene is very important. So we like actually to work on eye level. We love operations. We like to work with the people together who are actually doing the operational part, the value adding, which is most important in logistics, because this is actually what logistics is. And we all combine this operations together with strategy. And it's not just that we find our own companies, but we also work actually with other logistics consulting companies, like, for example, or strategic consultant companies like Retail Capital Partners, for example, located in Swiss, or HUZ located in Munich. And they have some strategies going on with their companies or with their customers. And then from there, we try to actually gain some potentials coming from the operational part. And which is also very interesting in our business is, as we have heard before, we always have different project sizes. We work with different people from different levels within the logistics field. We work purely operational, but also combine it with strategy and also parts like, of course, HR or finance or something. And why is it interesting for you? Because maybe, let me see how much time I've left. Yeah. This is something what actually made us to go into this field. As I said, we want to be operational, but combine it with strategy and so on. And why is this interesting for you? Because you're probably students, you are bachelor students or graduates, you are a master graduate, and we also have some PhDs here. I've seen PhD students, and we are still growing, and we are open and very interested, not just in getting the business done on the operational side, but also to create white papers or even solutions, software solutions, do simulations, all what you need to do in the area of digitalization today, like with all the data we have, if we have it. So all of you, no matter if you have some operational background or an academic level skill on the PhD level, you're all welcome, because we want to develop we want to develop the solutions in the logistics within real life problems. And this is also the reason why I am today still with KLU. I'm a PhD candidate at the KLU, and I'm looking into machine learning solutions within the warehouse operations, which is one part where we actually do this with the KLU, but we, of course, also want to network with you guys. We want to get to know you, and we want to hire you, and we want to know what you're interested in, and what you actually like to do, and how we can make it fit into our business. So I hope I made you a little bit interested, and to see you in our breakout room. And I hope that you have a lot of questions going on, and that I am that I'm able to answer all of them. And of course, as I said, I'm at the KLU. I even have my own my own how do you say, post account there. So please leave me a message, either if I walk by, just grab me, or leave me a message there, or at LinkedIn and so on. And I'm very looking forward in meeting you.
Katja, that's lovely. Thanks very much for sharing that with us. Now I'm hoping if I can change the screen so that you can all can you all see each other? Okay, so we've got a few minutes and some people have sent messages that they would like to kind of address our 4 speakers. So I'm going to start with one of the questions that's been sent, and it's to all 4 of our speakers. And what do you like the most about your job, your role in the consultancy, and what do you like the least? I don't know who wants to kick off, but feel free. Enrico, or yeah.
I dare to begin, and I say that what I like the most is the continuous flow of new challenges. You know, this is certainly not the kind of job that you can board on, because simply it's project based. So every new customer, any new project is per se a new challenge. On the other hand, this can also play back to you because you know, it can also be too much of a challenge sometimes. Let's put it like that. I think that's sometimes what I still struggle to be myself, perhaps after a couple of years, you know, to say no sometimes, and instead of taking it all and then finding the way. Let's put it like that.
So you have a lot of variety, but also a lot of stress. Is that right?
I wouldn't call it stress, but you know, it's a lot of you know, when the business is growing and you have a lot of opportunities, and then you know, consulting is about, you know, developing the business and then deliver on projects, and you know, as a graduate, you're expected to learn how to deliver, not to expand the business. But after some times, you know, you need to balance different priorities, and we typically have more than one project at the same time, which I really like, because you just, you know, your week is just, you know, you work with a fashion company one day on a strategic supply chain issue, and the other day you work with a paper manufacturer on something rather different. So I think that's super cool, but sometimes managing priorities can be a challenge, you know. So it's a skill and a learning journey.
Jasmin, can I ask you what's your thoughts? Mm-hmm.
So what I like most is definitely that, I mean, my job changes after a few months. So I'm now after 1 year on project number 5 and 6 at the moment. And I also think what I like least in the beginning was that if you would ask me now, Jasmin, what are you doing on a project in, I don't know, 7 weeks in April? And then I had to say, I have no idea. There will be a project, and I hope it will be fun, but you have to step back from these planning things. So nevertheless, it's possible to go on vacation. But yeah, so I'm really a planning and a calendar like planner person. But then I really had to learn there are people, all the people are interested that I'm on a project, so it will definitely gonna happen. But I have to step back from the idea to know everything for the next month.
Mm-hmm. Jakob, Katja?
Yeah, sure. To add on that, what I really like is that you're working with people who want to change something. So not always directly, but in the end, a company pays you that you come there and you're changing something. And that is what I've missed during my internships in typical companies. I don't know, I worked for MAN, truck producer, half a year, and it was so many loops until there could be a change, let's say like that. And in consultancy, you are ordered to do that. And maybe for just to add on that, I'm somebody who really likes to do backpacking and travel for a longer time then, and that is often not possible in a typical job where it's not as easy to take 4, 5, 6 weeks of vacation. I mean, you really have to want that, because then the rest of the year there's not so much. But as it's project work, if your project is finished, you can take as long as vacation as you want. And I think worst part are definitely the peaks. And that is also something which you have to learn to manage, because if you have several projects in parallel and actually everything is perfectly fine with the workload, but then yeah, the peak comes in both projects at the same time, you will have a stressful day.
What about you, Katja?
Yeah, what I like the most, of course, working with people, with different people in different projects. The most fun part is probably to develop ideas and be creative on solutions and how to get there. And also to still learn, right? Because even if we're in the logistics part, and even maybe if we are in warehousing, it's still differs. So you still learn, you learn from a lot of people, a lot of good people. What I like least is, yeah, maybe also the stressful parts. But this is what you also learn in consulting. They go over, right? And even if you have like, there are maybe also some bad projects, but those projects end. So it's like usual, every upward trend goes downward and the other way around. But as soon as you have a good atmosphere, it's fun. So yeah.
Now, one of our students here, Navid, is asking, I think, am I right? Navid, you're a PhD candidate, is that correct?
Yes, I'm PhD. Yes.
Do you want to ask your question?
Well, yes, of course. I was asking. So I'm not the only PhD here in the room. So there are a few PhDs already here. So what would be interesting for me to know is that how is the job market opportunities for PhDs if they want to join this consultancy? Is it limited? Is it highly likely? How open they are? And then there is a follow-up question on that, how they're open to international PhDs who cannot speak German, for example. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I just start, huh?
Go for it, yeah.
Well, to the first question, at least we are surely very interested in high-skilled workers, because we are interested in new solutions and in the state-of-the-art solutions or research, and we are interested in people who are and we are developed. No, we are interested in people who are able to develop things, right? And so to get make an impact, right? And even to get it as a solution for the market. And this is also the area, for example, with Loxers, where you could do this. This is the first part. So yes, sure. The second part, good question. This might be indeed a problem, but I think, and maybe we should have a chat on this one, if you are, as I said, interested in develop things, and we are all very good English speaker, I think if the interest in research is interesting, there are ways, right? For others, like bachelor's and master thesis, it might be more difficult if you are not able to have this trade-off between level of knowledge and knowledge of language, right?
Thanks, Katja. Any other responses from our other alumni?
Can go on. So at Bearing Point, in some cases, it's definitely, so German is definitely a requirement, for example, in my sector, in the energy sector, or also as Hannah told you in her video, in the public sector. The public sector in Germany is far away from English, so you need to speak German there. But to answer your first question, I have a lot of colleagues who joined Bearing Point after their PhD, and they then started their career in consulting at Bearing Point. But to then jump to your next question, we also have some areas where English is not that necessary as it is in my field. For example, since we now have a new office in Geneva, in Switzerland, we all have to learn that the German-speaking area is not that German-speaking as we think. So we there have a lot of French-speaking colleagues, and we're just 1,800 colleagues in Germany, but 4,500 worldwide. So there's definitely a place without German language skills for you.
I can continue shortly and just say that we have PhD students that have studied career in consulting. That I don't really see that. I see that as a value-adding thing rather than the other way around. Absolutely, no doubt about it, because we are doing anyway, quite technical work in some spaces. So that's definitely a cool thing, I think. And regarding the language, I was myself an Italian guy living in Denmark, and I landed the job without speaking Danish at that point of time. So actually Implement is very open language-wise. I would say in Denmark, there is whatsoever not a requirement. Denmark is very international per se, the job market. So in Denmark, in our headquarters in Denmark, we have more than 500 people. I think maybe 100 or 200 of them don't speak Danish or any German or Nordic language. In Switzerland, I think it's only me plus 3 more people that do not yet speak proper German. So we do anyway English, let's say, based work. In Germany, in Hamburg and Munich, we have, for the moment, only German-speaking people. But to be honest, we don't see it as a hard requirement. We work with very big companies, and I think it would be easier in Denmark or in Switzerland. In Germany, possible to be discussed. But I would really encourage you not to feel like this is going to be a big constraint. I think the other fellows have mentioned very well, when it comes to the public sector, is a big no-go. I fully understand that. But for private customer, bigger customer, that's doable.
Brilliant. Jakob, do you want to add anything, or?
I can keep it short. PhDs also welcome. I'm actually sitting in the former PhD office in our office. We just named it like that because there were before me and Mike, so it's a 2-person office, and the 2 people before inside were PhDs. They now moved to single offices as they achieved a higher position. And for non-German speaking so far, I only had English project. So like the project work so far was only in English. But I would say for some of the project it is required. Staffing would need to be assigned, or otherwise, I mean, we do have an office in UK. We do have one in USA, but yeah, there are options.
So that's very encouraging. Hopefully now that was what you wanted to hear. I'm going to open the floor up if there's anybody else who has questions that they would like to address to our 4 alumni. I can't actually see everyone on the screen, so perhaps you could just unmute yourself and ask the question. That would be great. Quiet. Any questions? Last chance. No? Then yes, go for it.
My question would be for all the alumni. I'm just curious that the presentations were all positive, really energetic and motivating. But I wanted to ask you, did you also have, let's say, first challenges or difficulties when you started your new job? And how did you overcome them?
Oh, good question. Who would like to kick us off?
Is the question related to, the beginning of our career, or it's simply a challenge that has, difficulties that has been part of our, let's say, path?
Maybe, that's also a good question to my side. Maybe you just start with the challenges at the beginning of your career, and then maybe ones if you had during your career, like as you said. Thank you.
Sure. I think shortly from my side, when you start in consulting, it's a mess, because to be right, because there are so many things going on and so many projects and things and topics and people that you get to meet, different customers, different colleagues, different domains, different location. We also do travel quite a bit, especially before Corona. Now it's way more hybrid. So it's quite a lot of information and a lot of things to really grasp at the beginning, and you might get a little bit lost. Reason why my company, but I'm sure also the others, have a very, let's say, structured coaching and mentoring and sort of approach to this, to make sure that the new starters are kind of tightly followed, to make sure they don't get lost at the beginning. I think it's important to have a good start in consulting, else if you get lost at the beginning, then it's harder to go back to on track.
Thank you.
Thanks, Enrico.
Sure.
I can go next.
Great.
So in the beginning, I realized that the good thing in consulting is that you're working with a lot of different people, and the bad thing is that you're working with a lot of different people.
Okay.
And I realized after studying 2 years at KLU, and also I really, really loved my semester abroad, everything was nice and so nice people. And then I jumped in my career and I realized, oh, not everyone is polite and nice, but they are your clients. So that was sometimes a bit hard for me. And to give you an example, it was on a project, and our project lead on the client side, she was in a very, very stressful situation. And then you really have to understand what her problem is, and maybe that there was a situation where she was not so polite, but for me it was quite hard. And that was the moment where my mentor, my manager, my partner talked to me, and but I was a bit shocked in the moment. So people are different, and you cannot choose the people who are on your project. And I think that was at the beginning. So now I know it has nothing to do with me. Everything is fine, and keep going. So I think now I would also think it's not okay to be unpolite, but I can handle it a bit better. And I think that was for me the biggest point in the first 6 months, I guess. And then you cannot choose always the people who are around you.
So you have to grow some thick skin to deal with that. Great. Katja, Jakob, anything that you would like to add to that?
To learn on the fly. You're going to be put in a project. There's going to be an introduction, and then it's expected that you can work on that, even if you have never done a project like that before. I mean, there is still always a project sponsor who's guiding you, but the work is done by you.
Yeah. My career start is so long ago. So, I think this was something, when I started my career, I was very young. And this was hard, and might be something what you are facing as well, when you, just what the other said, right? When you come from the university and you want to do some consultancy, and the business is tough because they pay for some good solutions, right? And they want to see, they're not there for helping you to get the solution, but they somehow expect your creativity and some, I don't know, solutions. So so actually when I started my career, I was very young, so this was tough because I needed to stand my woman to go there where I am now today. But what is, I don't know, I would just encourage you to keep going, to do your thing, to believe in you and in your solution, and of course in your skills. Because I think, and this is even an advantage, right? You learned a lot you learn a lot of good things today at the university, like programming, Excel skills. You are the digital natives, so you have a big advantage to all the other persons who are in practice already since a lot of time. So maybe this is something what you could turn your negative experience into the good ones, and always appreciate your own skills.
Very good advice. We've got time for one last question if anybody wants to ask it.
May I ask one more short question? Nobody wants
Sure.
to ask?
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to also ask one opinion. I heard from someone that they always say when you work in consultancy, at a specific age, there will be a moment that you will say, okay, that was enough in consultancy, in project. So now I have to move to, let's say, more to a non-project, more stable work. So is it true, like, that you cannot work in consultancy fields forever?
I would say no, since those heads I just showed you, they are 40, 45, 50, and still working in the consultancy. So, but it might be, but this depends also on you, that what is meant with stable, you maybe want to come home at 5 and not at 6 or at 8. You maybe want to have all your weekends off. No, I don't want to scare you, but you want to be so flexible. So, and you don't want to travel a lot. But I think this is changing as well, right? Today, in our world today, this is changing. For example, as I said, we have a lot of online meetings with our customers, and you can arrange your work somehow by yourself. And I think if you once fell in love with consultancy, I think it's hard to stop. Right. So, yeah, that would be my question, my answer.
Thanks, Katja.
Thank you.
And I would also add on that it's quite important to have these experienced people who have some years of experience in the field, also in the firm. So I can just add, both is possible. I can totally understand that some people say after some years, I don't want to travel in my job. So I never travel to a customer because it's a pandemic. And it will definitely change in the future. But yeah, sometimes it's also absolutely okay that you want to see something different after you did 5 years, 10 years of consulting after your graduation. So both is possible, but you don't have to leave if you don't want to.
Thank you.
Enrico.
I just want to say that I think it's important to be in a company where you have the chance to, push the bar, but then, if for any personal reason you have different priorities in life and all that, then you're not forced to leave this business because of that. I think there is a range, and you can really push the bar very high. I don't tell you that you can relax and enjoy, because that's not the kind of place, but there is also a way in between where you can really deliver quality without dying of work, to be honest. And there are certain consulting businesses that don't properly allow you to do so, I think. But I think it's not the case for any of the guys here in this call. I think it's more typical to the maybe the more pure strategy consulting type of job. I think when it comes to, I'm just generalizing here, but when it comes to our field of work, I think working hours and flexibility, autonomy is a little bit more sustainable in general. I can talk for my company is extremely important, the autonomy, flexibility, and it's very much trust-based. So, I don't need to tell anyone what am I doing tomorrow morning at 8, and neither the next week. I can just do what I want, what I think is best for me and my job and everything. And then I need to, balance my work with, my delivery and the quality I want to deliver, basically. Yeah. But we have quite a high average age in Implement. We actually kind of proud of that. I think the average age is 36.5 years, and it's extremely high in the consulting space. You will typically find in big four companies, you will find maybe 30, 29, because they have thousands of people that are, your age or roughly my age. And then as soon as they get 30, 35 something, they just leave. That's not the case, at least in my company.
Brilliant. Thanks, Enrico. Jakob, do you want to add anything to that?
I mean, I can understand where the point is coming from, because at a certain point in life, your perspective might change and you want to change your priorities. But I guess that this is also a little bit old-fashioned because companies are understanding that need as well. So things like a sabbatical is usually, let's say, easy possible, at least for Miba, or only working part-time. So we have a couple of colleagues who has just been newly a mother, and now she's only working 3 days a week, and that is totally fine. So companies adapt to that.
Brilliant. Now, I want to give you the chance to ask questions kind of one-on-one, but I'm aware that our time is slipping. So what I would like to do is to put you into a breakout room with one of the four speakers. You'll get 5 minutes, let's say 5-6 minutes with each of your speakers. So you'll have to get in there quick with your questions. It gives you the chance to ask perhaps those more personal questions. They obviously won't be recorded. And then once you've had a chance with each of the speakers, I'm going to pull you back into the main room. Okay, I'm hoping that all worked well for you guys. And before we just finish, we have one more question, which I think is a brilliant kind of finishing question for us, and that perhaps we could ask our speakers. And it's, what advice would you give to our KLU students here to prepare them for a career in consulting? It's a bit of a tricky one, but just as a brief wrap up, perhaps one or two of you could answer. What advice would you give our KLU students here? That would be lovely. Enrico.
Well, first of all, understand whether consulting is for you, because I got a lot of good questions, like, how are the people working with you have slipped into consulting, or they really wanted to do this kind of job? I think that's the first thing. And to understand that, I put a couple of questions at the end of my presentation, which I feel also the other guys would share. And then, like I think was Jasmin, or that said she was it you that you were rejected 3 times and then you made it to consulting, right? Yeah, I think this is super good story, because I agree, build your network, because it's way easier when you know the people working in consulting to get into consulting, let's say, and then ask yourself those questions. What do you want from your at least the first part of your career? What kind of people you want to work with? What kind of tasks do you want to do on a daily basis? And are you open for different things, or you want to focus on getting super specialized on one thing? That's also a good question.
So ask yourself those brutal questions. That's good advice. Anybody else want to add their own advice to our KLU students?
I just can say, don't be afraid. So there are maybe the typical consultants, and you think like, oh, I'm not that experienced. But I think consultancy is also open for introverts, for extroverts, for people who want to talk a lot, for people who want to analyzing a lot. Of course, maybe it's not the best option if you hate people. But in the end, yeah, I don't want to copy Nike, but it's just do it. And there will be a way for you and people who support you, because other people are really interested in developing you.
Yeah, maybe to add, I think I said this before, but be open-minded, be positive, and I just had something what I really wanted to say, but I, of course, like your job. That's very important, right? I think it's, don't see it always as job, but maybe as some hobby you're doing, because otherwise at some points you may don't like it so much. So yeah, you should love what you do. And yeah, maybe at least for us, it's good to have a good level in speaking German.
Yeah, not really ending with a nice philosophical words, but just think about, like, what do you want from your career path? So do you want to be in, like, I don't know, the Big Four, and just agree on that you probably don't have a lot of social life for the next 2 to 3 years, or you don't want that because there are different consultancies with different concepts also in different areas, like which direction do you want to go? Yeah. Think about that, and there are plenty of options.
Guys, this has been phenomenal. Really great to get your honest feedback. We really appreciate your input, and I'm sure we all want to just appreciate our thanks for taking the time out tonight to speak with us and share your wisdom and your stories, and it's been really great to hear, and I'm sure it's been a real encouragement and support to the students. So on that note, I want to thank everyone here for coming, for joining in, for asking questions, and I hope it's been a help to you. All of our speakers have been extremely generous and warm and invited questions, and so please do feel free to contact them. And also Jonas, who wasn't able to be here tonight, and Hannah, feel free to reach out to them as well if you have queries. But let me take this opportunity to thank you all for coming. The recording for tonight will be available on Compass in the next few days if you want to review anything that was mentioned. But other than that, I'll ask the speakers to stay on for a couple more minutes, but everybody else, I wish you a lovely evening, and until next time.
In case of any questions, just reach out.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank
Goodbye.
you guys.
Bye
Thank
to
you
the
very much.
students.
Thank you. Goodbye.